McGuff.com.
Where did you work before Houston?
I worked in Phoenix, Arizona for the Phoenix Gazette newspaper. It folded. Then I came to work for the Houston Post, and it folded also.
So you're having a bad track record so far.
Not me, the papers are. I'm doing okay.
What did you do over in Phoenix?
Same thing I do here.
So you started out always being a columnist.
I was the television columnist at the Phoenix Gazette, and I was the television columnist when I joined the Houston Post. And I moved on up to do the job I do now. And I was very lucky when the Post closed that the Chronicle, one, that the Chronicle hired me, and two, that the Chronicle allowed me to continue my column. So I was very lucky.
How did TV column change into what you do today, which is just kind of Ken Hoffman?
Yeah, because I was doing I was doing a general column anyway as a TV column. And it's just much more enjoyable for me to do a general column because I can write about anything that's out there. And, you know, television, I love television. I'm trying to cut my television back, though, to maybe 12, 14 hours a day.
Is that going to be difficult?
It's very difficult, you know, because I like to keep it around 16 to 18.
Well, I'm sure everyone at the TV stations appreciate that.
Yeah, the TV stations and I get along. But even when I did a television column, it was very similar to what I do now. It was just, I'm just trying to write things that people find the time to read. And television was just trying to put on stuff that people want to watch, so the actual stuff that's on television isn't about television, it's about normal things. So I was writing about normal things anyway. And the Houston Post was trying to find anything that would work. So they allowed me to shift focus a little bit, but not much different.
When that place shut down, I mean, where were you at that point?
I was in the building. I was maybe 5 to 10 feet away from the editor, who stood on a desk and made the announcement. And, you know, we all knew it was coming, but it was still devastating to all of us and to me personally. And I had to go to the unemployment office, and it was very hard because we all had a great affection for the Houston Post. And, you know, people talk about how it's a terrible thing for journalism, but for me, it was just a terrible thing for me personally. And also, I had a lot of terrific friends at the Post, and it's a hard thing to lose your job. You know, I used to watch TV and say General Motors is laying off 25,000 people, and I just, you know, click the remote because that's a boring story. But now maybe I have a little more empathy for those kinds of stories.
What did you think was going to happen at that point? You know, you have no job at this point. I mean, did you think you were going to have to move?
Well, I applied to newspapers around the country in warm weather climates, and I was hoping for the best. One thing that happened I found almost entertaining looking back is I got a letter from the Anchorage Daily News telling me that they thought I was a good writer, but they didn't have any openings at this time, and I never even applied for a job at this newspaper, and I was being rejected. I wrote back saying, you know, things are tough enough. You know, I don't need papers in the coldest state in the country to reject me even after I didn't apply. It was unbelievable. I guess a sister paper must have forwarded my stuff up there. Then I got rejections. I got one from the Austin paper telling me how wonderful they thought I was, and it went on and on and on. And then at the end, they said, "But we don't have any openings. Sorry." And I kept looking through, like, where's the job offer here? It was the nicest letter I ever got. I've got worse letters from papers that were offering me a job.
That's got to make you feel good, though. People are sending you letters?
Oh, the editor of the Austin paper said, "Oh, my mother reads you every day. You're her favorite columnist." I go, this is not helping.
How did the Chronicle happen?
The Chronicle, like most people at the Post, I applied for a job at the Chronicle, and I interviewed several times, and whatever their screening process was, I must have passed it. But there was a 3-month period in between, and it was weird. I had 9 weeks severance pay plus 4 weeks vacation, so I had 13 weeks of pay, and on the 13th week, the Chronicle offered me a job. It was almost like they were watching, like, you know, let's squeeze this guy for every penny he's got, you know. But it was a coincidence. But so I waited 13 weeks before the Chronicle offered me a job.
And did they say, we just want you to be Ken Hoffman, continue what you did at the Post, or did that take a little bit of negotiation?
No. They offered me a job as a columnist, and life resumed. In the meantime, I painted the inside of my house, and then I had to hire somebody to paint over what I painted because but it was weird being unemployed. It wasn't fun. Maybe it made me a more sensitive person, because even though it's been 12 years, I remember that stuff. It was a difficult period to go through of being unemployed.
Yeah, people think it's a great time to relax, and
no, they're wrong. I didn't go to the beach. I didn't travel. Because I was worried about resuming my career. I didn't have to move, and I continued as a columnist at my hometown paper. So I would feel very fortunate and appreciative of the Chronicle for hiring me.
When you talk about being a former TV columnist, you still write about that, and you specifically focus a lot on TV news. What fascinates you about that or interests you?
Well, it's the only local stuff there is, TV news. If they were doing local entertainment shows, I would write about those. It's not that I'm fascinated by it. That's an area that people enjoy reading about because people watch that local news, so I try to write about things that people are interested in. So when I go out to lunch with Wayne Dolcefino, it is as though I'm sitting there with a celebrity. People come in, and I watch other people watch him, and people don't draw a distinction between network entertainment shows and local shows. They just see someone on television. That's an important person. And so these people are important in their lives. So I write about, if I write about an anchor woman who's getting married or having a baby, people love reading that stuff. So I try to write about things that Chronicle readers are interested in. So it just plays hand in hand.
How did you come up with the Pet House Pet of the Week?
The Homeless Pet of the Week feature is every newspaper has this, and they typically will show a picture of a dog, and there'll be 3 cents below it. If Bingo isn't adopted by Tuesday, he gets it. When you do something so boring and tedious, no one's going to read it. So I decided, the Chronicle didn't have a homeless pet feature, so I thought I'll do one, but I'll try to make it a little more entertaining and more readable. So I copy what centerfolds of Playboy magazine do, where they always talk about, money isn't important to me. I'm looking for a guy with a sense of humor. Yeah, really. Yeah. Marty, you always see these centerfolds with Martin Short. So I just do it as though it's a Playboy centerfold, but it's a dog. But it's just me saying things that, random thoughts.
And those dogs are actually getting adopted all the time, right?
They've never missed. But it's more than that. It's in the beginning, they were giving me hard-to-place dogs, like a 3-legged dog or a dog that stuttered. It would go bow wow, that kind of thing. So, and then that dog would get hired, but we changed it to now we run a really cute dog, and so maybe 20 or 30 people will show up trying to adopt that dog, and once they're in there, they're leaving with a dog. And that dog goes out at 11:01 each week. It's never missed. So 10 times 52, whatever that is, 10 years. But it's much, much more than that. Of all the things I do, that's the one thing I actually see that something positive is done. The other stuff is meaningless. It's stupid. But
people enjoy it.
Yeah, I hope that. I really hope they do. But I am an animal rights guy, so I like the fact that homeless dogs are being adopted because of something I do. I won't get rejected from it. I'll go straight to hell a little bit slower than I normally would.
You've always been interested in, or always been appearing on radio, I guess, for how many years now?
I don't know.
I remember you back on the Buzz.
Well, I was
even before then.
Yeah, John Lander in the Q Morning Zoo. I had never been to a radio station in my life, and he called me up one day and said, would you write trivia questions for me? So I said, sure, because I listened to John. Mm-hmm. I would wake up and listen to him. I thought that he was terrific, and I thought Mr. Leonard was terrific. I thought the show was great. So when he called me up, I was really flattered that he would ask me to write trivia questions for him. So then he said, come up to the station so I could watch how they do it. And then I started writing the comedy bits for Lander. And then he hired me to be on the show. And so I've always had like a little bit of a part-time job on the radio just so I could get money for soda and candy and stuff like that. Wax lips and candy cigarettes and stuff like that.